It's a good day to have a good day. Hello, everybody. My name is Cece Ray. Thanks for joining me. We are recapping Vanderpump Rules Season 11 season finale. Can you believe it? What do you guys think about this season? It's definitely been an interesting one coming off Sandoval, that's for sure. It's got a little bit of twists and turns to it, but I have to be honest. Ariana, man, there's something about it. From the day Sandoval hit, something didn't seem right. I'm just saying. And it's still not settling with me. I just have to admit. And Katie, look, I've always known she was a bully. She's just a real bitch. Let's put it that way. Some people respect that for her. I get it. But she does require a lot of, you do it my way or else I don't want to talk to you type deal. And I don't know, she's not sitting with me very well either, to be quite honest. But before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish. Just goes by so fast, doesn't it? So there's so much to unpack, so let's get into it. It starts off with Ariana and Dan, and they're in bed, and he's getting her coffee, like the perfect boyfriend, and it's all sweet, and I think there's hearts flying around them and birds singing type deal. And she's like, thank you, that type of thing. And then you go over to James and Allie, and I really do like James and Allie. And she's like, has Sandoval and Dan met yet? He's like, no, I guess tonight's going to be the big meeting. Then you see Lala and Katie, and Lala's saying to Katie, like, I keep asking Ariana, like, how's Dan going to feel when, he finally meets Sandoval? And Ariana keeps saying to me that, he's been in many fights before. He's not going to mess around, and there's no way he'll even shake his hand. And Lala's like, doesn't that sound like a square? And Lala's like, I think he's sweet. Then you've got Schwartz and Sandoval FaceTiming, and Schwartz is in his hot tub. Of course he is. And Sandoval turns around and is like, hold up a second. I thought your hand was your toes for a second there, because your toes are so long. And Schwartz chokingly says, let me see your toes type deal. Like, we all know Schwartz has a foot fetish, so we'll give a little side eye to that. Anyway, so then it's Scheana and Brock, and Brock's like, how do you feel about tonight? And Sheena's like, there's a sound guy there, so I think everything's going to be good. And then Brock says, how did you feel about your conversation last night with Sandoval? Remember, they had a big conversation out on the deck of that restaurant. And she's like, I don't know if he's genuine or playing me. Since this all happened, I don't know who to trust. So Brock turns around and goes, out of Ariana and Tom's the one that reaches out. And, in Brock's interview, he starts saying that, out of the whole friend group, Tom is the one that always shows he cares. And that if Scheana needs anything, he does it without even asking, without checking with her. Like, he just does it to make sure she has whatever she needs. And he's like, that's, his feelings on Tom. But, Sheena's like, no, I would disagree because, Ariana has always been there. And Brock's like, has she? And she says, look, she always wants to be invited, even though she won't show up, but she's always had my back. So there you have that. And then the whole group, besides Sandoval's setting up for the show. So the rest of the group, they go on a tour of San Francisco. They're on one of these trolleys, they're going down the hills and up the hills. And, Lala turns around and says to Ariana and Dan, because he's there this time, he's not doing his own thing. She says, would you guys have showed up if Sandoval was here? And Ariana's like, I don't know about that, And then I think it was Schwartz or somebody said, he's setting up all day, and they're like, oh, okay. Then, so then they go to Chinatown and they're having lunch. And Lala starts the interrogation of Tom. I mean, they should have brought a spotlight on this guy and put him in a dark room and handcuffed him to the table the way she interrogates him from, when was your last relationship? What do you do? Well, do you train all day? Is that something you want to do? Is that your main gig? She's asking 100 questions. And Schwartz turns around and says to her, are you going to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And she's like, yeah, I am. And I think it was in her interview where she was like, you ask these questions because, we don't need any more jerks coming into the circle here. Listen, if I had a best friend who started dating a new guy, I'd be asking questions just like that. I can guarantee you that when my daughters date someone, it's 100 questions. I'm just saying. But then in her interview, she does say, Dan really took it like a champ because she knows she was given it, And then Allie asked Dan, what was the first thing that attracted you to Ariana? And he says, well, there was a conversation going on about race, and this is obviously a trigger for him. This is why he has gotten into fights in the past. And she seemed to be very sympathetic and empathetic to it. And that's what made him, that's what he attracted him to her. And then, he puts in the little slide of, but she looked really good in the dress too, but put a paper bag on her. She looks good, I'm sure. And then, of course, Allie asked the same thing of Ariana, and Ariana said, well, I loved I was attracted to his smile because he's got a beautiful smile. And she said, but he was in a group of girls, and they were having a deep conversation, and he didn't try to overpower the conversation or anything. He really listened, and that's what made her attracted to him. I might question this, though, but I'll save that for another podcast. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, and then James turns around and is like, have you met Sandoval yet? Or what do you think of Sandoval? And he's like, ducking. But Dan really had a really good answer. He said, look, he's never done anything to me. I've heard the stories. That's it. And he's pretty laid back, pretty cool. I have to say I do like him with Ariana. I do. And so then Scheana says to Ariana that last night she had this conversation with Sandoval. And she said to Sandoval, did you ever think about how you weaponized Ariana's mental health and put it out there in public? And she said, when she said that, you could basically see the mask come down. And he said, he was really genuine when he said, I really need to think about that. I never thought about that before. And Katie, of course, jumps in. How many times are we going to believe that he has genuine tears? And she's going off the deep end, of course, because she is a dog with a bone. Always. And so then Brock jumps in and he's like, hey, my wife had a real friendship with this guy, and Katie in her interview is like, look, if you're friends with the girl and the guy screws the girl, screw the guy. Well, that would be true. Like, if Scheana didn't have any relationship with Tom except through Ariana, then I agree 1000% with Katie. But that's not the situation here. I mean, actually, her and Tom and Ariana were actually friends way before Pump Rules was on. Seriously. Those three worked at Villa Blanca together. So, yes, Scheana has been friends with him for a long time. So when he came over to SUR, I don't think it was that much time in between when Scheana came to SUR, because that's when they started filming Pump Rules, if you recall. Everybody hated her. The girls were definitely out to get her, but Tom had her back. Why? Well, because they were friends before Vanderpump Rules started shooting. You see what I'm saying? So she has been friends with him for this long. Not through Ariana, but through her own relationship with him. It's kind of like Schwartz, they're best friends. Now, I'm not saying Scheana and him are best friends, but this is his best friend. They've been friends before Vanderpump Rules. So it's kind of like, listen, Ariana doesn't get to call the shots all the time. This is just getting insane now nope, sorry, if you talk to him, then I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so Brock's like, my wife had a true friendship with him, and Katie's like, of course, like, screw the guy, and, Schwartz jumps in, and he's like, he's a good guy that did a trash thing, and Ariana's like, a trash thing? And he's like, well, a bad thing. Just one bad thing? Well, he did several horrible things, and she starts threatening Schwartz right away. You can just leave the table. You don't have to sit here. You can leave. Like, why? Who is allowing her to say who sits at her table? It's not her table. It's the group's table because they're filming a show. This is what happens when you do a reality television. And so then, Brock jumps in and he's like, I'm defending my wife. And Ariana's like, Katie's defending your wife too because, she's defending her from the trash thing. Like, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I understand she was cheated on, don't get me wrong. And she can be upset and be in her own feelings, and I totally accept that and agree. The problem is that a lot of this group were friends before she came into the picture onto Vanderpump Rules. Friends before Vanderpump Rules even started filming. And, they're filming a television show. So I don't think it's fair to say you can't talk to Sandoval or I won't be friends with you anymore. Because she said it several times. And that's Scheana's problem. She doesn't want to lose her, but yet this is her friend. And even though she can be mad at him and angry at him for what he did, this is her friend. And like she said before, she didn't forget all the things he's done for her over the years, and he's the one person that's always had her back. So I don't think it's fair to not only make these people stop their relationships with him because he cheated on her. I also don't think it's fair to draw a line in the sand and say you're not allowed to talk to him when they're filming a television show. This is a reality television show. And by the way, in reality television, technically, I'm going to say technically, you're supposed to be showing what's going on in your life. And this is real life. And so you can't expect the whole cast not to film with him, not to talk to him. It's impossible. Because production is like, we need to have a scene with Tom. I'm sure they are. You see what I'm saying? Like, So it's kind of hard for these people to be like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk to Tom because Ariana said so. I digress. Anyway, so then you see Schwartz walks into the hotel room, and guess who's there, people? Jo. That's right. She is in San Fran as well. And I like the energy between these two. I know they're not together now, but I really like the energy between these two. And like she says, you know, look at my view. Like, I have the best view. And he's like, you do have the best view. And she's like, can you believe it? And he's like, I can't believe it. Like, I actually love their energy between each other. However, I do have to tell you that in her interview, God love her, she's like, I love Schwartz. I want him to always be in my life. I mean, this girl is in love. I mean, in love, like head over heels. Can't see the trees from the forest. You know, we're talking about birds, hearts, bubbles, balloons, you name it, all around her, because all she sees is like Schwartz, Schwartz, Schwartz in her mind, you know. And so she says to him, you know, can you show me how to iron my dress? He's like, you want me to iron your dress? She's like, yeah, I don't know how to. So he starts showing her how to iron the dress, you know. And he turns around and looks at her and he's like, are you wearing makeup? And she's like, stop. And then in his interview, he's trying to explain, like, she never wears makeup. So even when she puts lipstick on, he said it's like a little girl who's gotten into her mother's purse and like just smeared the lipstick on. He's like, it looks weird, you know. But I have to say, sorry, Katie, but Jo is a beautiful girl. I mean, she really is. With or without makeup. I mean, she's gorgeous. So she's pretty. Then you see Brock and Scheana. They return to their room, and Brock has had the hotel concierge probably put rose petals that go from the door to the bed, and he's got petals in the shape of a heart on the bed, and there's chocolate covered strawberries sitting in the middle, which was really nice, you know, to remind her how much he loves her. I think he is good. I think he's a good guy. You know, in any couple, they have their ups and their downs. That's life. But I think he's good for her. I do. And, you know, then you see Schwartz and Sandoval. Schwartz goes into Sandoval's room and he's like, hey, you know, we had lunch today and I finally met Dan. And he's like, Dan seems like a great guy, you know. And of course, Tom turns around and goes, well, of course he is. You know, Ariana has great taste in men. Okay, Sandoval. And so then, you know, Schwartz tells Sandoval that Brock stood up for him when all the girls were like, coming at him. It wasn't all the girls. It was just Katie. And then you see Scheana, and she's on the phone with Lisa. Sheena's telling Lisa about the conversation that her and Sandoval had, you know, and finally Lisa turns around, you know, because Sheena's like, I don't know if I should believe him. I don't know if he's like playing me, like I don't know anything, and I've got Ariana over here. Like, I mean, this girl's head has been spinning since they started shooting the season. So finally, Lisa Vanderpump says to Scheana, do you still love him? You know, as a friend. And Scheana said, I do. And Lisa says, there's your answer. Which is true. There is her answer. You know. So then you have Lala and Katie. Okay. They're back at their hotel room. And, you know, Lala's saying to Katie that, like, you know, Scheana keeps asking why she keeps bringing up Sandoval's, because she's asking for Ariana's approval. You know, that it's okay to talk to him. It's okay to be friends with him, you know. And that I'm not going to go anywhere. That I'm still going to be your friend. And Katie's like, no, the friendship will change. And Lala's like, that's why Scheana has so much pressure on her. That's her pressure. She doesn't want She doesn't want to lose Ariana, but yet she still wants her relationship with Sandoval. And then, Katie in her interview, of course, is like, I don't understand why, Scheana thinks she's the exception to Ariana's rules. Girl, I'm totally with Lala, like who made her God, which we will talk about because that's at the finale. But who made her God? It's her rules. Okay, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to wear blue shorts. If I see you with blue shorts, we're not talking anymore. We're done. We're not friends anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Katie being on board with that, that's ridiculous, but that's how Katie is. She puts so many, rules onto Schwartz. You're not allowed to date in the friend group. You're not allowed to talk to this person. You're not allowed to go over there. You're not allowed to be at this bar. It's just nuts. Two peas in a pod. That's why they're right now. But really, are they? I'm kind of wondering about that. And then Sandoval and Schwartz are still in the room talking. And, Schwartz asks, how his conversation was with Scheana last night. Sandoval's like, it was really good. And then he goes, I think I really can apologize to Ariana for, bringing up her mental health and putting it out there in the public. And I just want her to know that, I'm trying to be a better person. And if there's anything she ever needs, even if it's decades down the line, he'll always be there for her. And Schwartz is like, yeah, I'd look more for those decades, far away. Excuse me. But, yeah, he's not going to get a combo with her because, how is he going to get a combo with her? But see, this is the thing. This is what makes me think. When he turns around and he says, I think I can apologize for putting her mental health out there. He's never saying, I want to apologize for cheating on you. It makes me think about that time when she was on one couch and he was on the other. This was the last time they supposedly spoke. He almost looked confused when he was trying to explain, yeah, but Raquel and I became friends, and she starts screaming, I don't give a shit about Raquel. He almost looked confused, which makes me think that they didn't have quite the relationship that everybody thinks they did. I think it was more like a business transaction at that point because they had a brand they were working on and they had businesses that they were involved in. I'm not just talking about the house. That's one big one. But they also had, the cocktail book. They had apparently drinks that were pre-made, mixers that you get the recipes for, and you could get them delivered to you. They had a lot going on at that time. And so I'm just wondering, and he's said before, even when he was still Mike talking to a producer, that he felt guilty that they weren't really showing the true relationship of him and Ariana, that they were lying. And he felt guilty that everybody else was showing their lives and they weren't. In front of the camera, they were one way. Behind closed doors was a very different way. It just makes me wonder. I'm not saying he was right in the way he broke up with her, but it makes me wonder what kind of relationship they really did have, especially when you can start dating somebody 8 days later after you were crushed. Because I can tell you, my daughter went through cheating in her marriage, new marriage, only to find out the marriage was just all a complete joke because he was cheating on her the whole time. My daughter couldn't pick up her head off of a pillow for 3 months. And I'm not playing either. She was devastated. She was heartbroken. I mean, she was just you know, didn't see it coming. Did not see it coming at all. And to make it worse, the girl was, they were double dating. Oh, yeah. He tried to have her become friends with this girl. Yeah, this girl wanted to be her friend because he was friends with her boyfriend. Yeah, this girl befriended her. So, not the exact same situation, but what I'm trying to say is my daughter's still not dating, and it has been almost 2 years. She dated in 8 days. 8 days. This really makes me think that this relationship was like, it was done a long time ago. She was just pissed off the way he did it. Okay? But it also makes me wonder about a few things. Like, did she know? Did she know he was cheating on her? It's a possibility that she planned. Because why did Sandoval blow up? Why? They've all cheated on each other. I mean, majorly cheated on each other. And it never blew up. Why did this one blow up? Think about it. Think about it. Because I think I might do another video just on that. But right now we're just going to take a good break. And we'll be right back with listen to me, with the recap of Vanderpump Rules Season 11. Hi everybody, it's Cece Ray here, and today I want to talk to you about vaginal dryness. No, I'm not going to talk to you about vaginal dryness, but what I do want to talk to you about is vacation. Vacation's all I ever wanted. Okay, I digress. However, vacation, whether you are planning a family vacation or maybe a weekend getaway with the girls, or in my case, the bittersweet drop-off day of my daughters at college. Need a place to stay for that. But what I can tell you is how to find the lowest rates. And no, it's not some big system. It's literally one step. Ready? Go to familypalette.com. The link is listed below. Scroll down to book your vacation. Put in your destination. It's going to take you over to Hotels Combined. They have an entire list, not just one or two, the entire list that is out there of low rates. I'm not playing. If I'm not traveling for a client, I am always using this. I'm not joking, because it gives me the lowest rates. I also like their filter system. Maybe I want a restaurant. Maybe I want to make sure there's a fitness center. You can put all that in there. Maybe you're going to a wedding and you want to see how far away the hotel is from that event. You can do that. Yes, you can. So it is so simple. Why pay the extra money? Keep it in your pocket for fun and exciting things to do. You know what I mean? I mean, what do you got to lose? Just try it, right? Familypalette.com. Scroll down to book your vacation. Put in your destination. It's going to take you over to Hotels Combined. I'm telling you, you're going to thank me. Make sure you let me know where you're going. And by the way, have fun and safe travels. And a lot to unpack. So let's finish off, shall we? So now we are at Kyle Chan's event. That's right. And Kyle, of course, is welcoming everybody in. And Scheana, of course, goes backstage to make sure everything's set up. And this is where she finds out that this sound guy didn't just miraculously appear out of thin air, that Tom flew him in for this gig so that she would sound good and everything would be good for her performance. And she's just kind of like, you flew him out? He's like, yeah. And she says in her interview, like, this is the Tom that I've always known for 15 years. This is him, you know. So she's doing her sound check. Everybody else has come in, you know, and Ariana and Dan and 2 other people enter as well. And then James and Allie, they're so cute. He says, you know, how about if we go outside and see the beautiful sunset before it's done? And so I love their energy. He's like, you know, let me whisk you off, you know. And the way he is around her, the way he, you know, gently takes his hand and puts it on her back while they're walking, like, I think he's really changing. I don't know if it's because of an influence of her or him maybe maturing and getting older and seeing things a little bit differently now, but I think he really is changing. I hope I'm not wrong, but I really do think so. So anyway, James and Allie are outside, and, you know, she says, yeah, it's beautiful here and a beautiful sunset and blah, 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 blah. But then she turns around and she says, you know, but I miss Hippie. I miss the cats. I miss home, you know. He's like, I do too. And he's like, you know, listen, I want to tell you that, you know, I do respect you and you are my priority. And, you know, I didn't mean to make it sound like Hippie's my priority over you. Like, you're my priority. And, you know, I'm sorry for that. And she's like, it's okay. And then she says to him basically like, I said I didn't want to get married. She's like, but when I'm ready to get married, you're the one I want to marry. And, you know, it's like a light bulb goes off in his head. And he's like, really? You know, and I just really like them together. I really do. I like Allie. I think she's good for him. And so then we see Schwartz in the event. And guess who's there? Joe. And Allie comes back in. And so she sees Joe. And so her and Joe are talking. And he's like, you know, both of you look so beautiful. And like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he's like, you know, why don't you come over here to the lion's den, you know? And she's standing there and she looks at Allie and she's like, you know, first she's like, I don't know about that. And he's like, why not? It's not going to be a big deal, you know? And she says, like, I try to avoid uncomfortable situations and I try to avoid conflict, you know? And he's like, you know, what conflict do you have over there, you know, besides Katie? So he still takes her over to that lion's den, and Joe sits down, and she says to Katie, I want to say that I'm sorry if, you know, you think that if you feel that I've hurt you, and there goes Katie, the bitch Katie, that's right. If, you mean just sorry. So then Joe's like, I'm sorry. And I mean, Katie just starts going off the deep end with Joe. And Lala says to Joe, I think that the problem here is the way you moved, because you sent a text message. I'm so sorry to hear you're getting divorced. She's like, and the next week you move in with Schwartz. And Joe's like, that's not how it happened at all. Now you have to remember why she sent the text message and why she felt comfortable enough to send the text message is because she used to do these people's hair. That's right. She did their hair. That's how she knows production so well. So she probably felt comfortable enough to send the text message. Yeah, I get that. And, you know, she's trying to explain, though, that in between that text message and the time that she was just couch surfing was several months in between. And she's trying to tell Katie this, like, look, I didn't move in with him. Like, I was only couch surfing. And Lala's like, you had sex with him. And she's like, yeah, but that was until, like, way after, you know? And Katie starts she looked like she was going to claw Joe's eyes out. Basically, like, you know, get a different husband. You know, try to go after somebody else's husband type deal. And she's like, you know, it's just weird. You're weird. And Lala's like, that's not nice, Katie. She is awful. I mean, she is just awful. And so there was no resolution there. Let's make sure we're clear about that. Then, Katie's basically just like, get that weird. What did she say? I thought I wrote it in my notes. Oh, that's what she said. She said, keep it away from me. She literally called Joe an it. Keep it away from me. I'm not even going to respond because that's how bad it is. So then, Scheana, this is a funny part. So Scheana's zipper rips behind it. She realizes that the zipper has popped on her dress. So she's like, I can't move. She's sitting down. She's like, oh my God, I can't move. So she starts yelling for Brock. She's like, Brock, I can't move. You have to get, I can't get up. Like, you got to get my jacket. What does it look like? Well, it's, black fur jacket. So like 30 seconds later, he comes with this jacket. She's like, that's not my jacket. Where'd you get that jacket? He's like, this isn't yours? Like, he took somebody else's jacket, which I found comical. I thought I'd just share that with you all. And so then Sandoval goes up to Schwartz. He's now in a tux because he's done, setting up and everything. And he's like, how are you? And how's things going? And all this stuff. And so he sees that Ariana and Dan are literally sitting right there. I'm pretty sure this is why he went up to him. And he said, let me scoot by you, And Schwartz is like, like he doesn't know what to do, And Sandoval goes up to Dan and he's like, hi, I just want to introduce myself to you. I'm Tom. And just wanted to tell you I wish you both the best, all the luck. And I just wanted to introduce myself. And Dan was like, okay, thanks, He handled it like a champ. So Tom walks away and Schwartz is like, I think we need to get out of here, And he's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. He's like, no, we need to get out of here. I mean, because Ariana has put the fear of God into Schwartz. Like, literally everybody else too. So that was kind of interesting. We knew that was going to happen, though, I think, didn't we? Yeah. So then Scheana performs, and listen, she performed Apple. She performed Good as Gold with the band behind her. I mean, like, she did really good for never, ever performing with a band. She did excellent. I thought she did excellent. So she performs, and then she gets off stage, and Tom's there, and he's like, oh, you did such a good job, and the band is all there. And she turns around, and, she's like, I need some water. And Tom's like, you want some water? She's like, sure. He's like, I'll go get it for you. So he goes, and he gets water for everybody, not just her. I think that's where he's a nice person. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's not a narcissist. I'm not saying anything like that, but he can be nice. He's not like an asshole all the time, is all I'm saying. Anyway, so while he's standing there with everybody's waters, she's saying to the band, like, I know we were drinking last night. We had a couple cocktails. She's like, but was I dreaming last night? Or did we talk about me being in the band? And they're like, you're in the band. She's like, I'm in the band. They're like, yeah, you're in the band. She turns around to Tom. She's like, I'm in the band. And, Tom's like, yeah, like... So he starts giving all the waters out, and she's all excited, and, it was nice, So then she comes out to where the audience is, and Ariana comes over and gives her a big hug and tells her what a wonderful job she did. And then Scheana says to Ariana, do you know Tom's sound guy? Ariana's like, no. She's like, well, Tom flew him out here just for me so that my performance would go well. And she's like, I think he's changing, and I want to see if he's on this path of growth, And Ariana basically was like, Scheana, I don't want to know anything about his path of growth. Don't tell me anything about his path of growth. And so Scheana tells Ariana, like, I think he wants to apologize, and Ariana's like, I don't want any apology from him whatsoever, and she's like, that won't compromise, that doesn't compromise our friendship. I've just written him off forever. And then, in her interview, Ariana says, I've never told her that I would stop loving her. But then they do these flashbacks of the entire season of how many times Ariana said, if you even talk to him, you're dead to me. Yeah. So then Scheana's like, I'm so scared. I don't want to lose you. And Ariana's like, you're not going to lose me. We're family. I have a feeling that didn't quite turn out the way Scheana wanted it. And anyway, so while they're talking, Sandoval comes up to Scheana and he's like, I just want to tell you again, you did such a great job. This was his way of coming in because he's now trying to apologize to Ariana. And Ariana just skips right off. And Tom's like, hey, Ariana, like, wait, and then Scheana starts yelling at Tom. Tom, she doesn't want to, he's like, I was just going to apologize. And she's like, she doesn't want an apology. I just talked to her about it. Meanwhile, Ariana does like a beeline straight for production. And she's talking to producers about how, he basically doesn't deserve to ever be around her. Just, him coming up to her is like unacceptable. And, he doesn't give a, he doesn't care if she was dead in a dump somewhere or a ditch. He wouldn't care if she had a deadly STD. I mean, this girl's going off because she told production, she drew that line in the sand. I do not want to film with him whatsoever. And I think production kept kind of lightly pushing with the rest of the castmates of, can we try and get them together? Can we get them together? Do you see that opening? Grab that opening. I think that they played by her rules, but the problem is that she put those rules on the rest of the castmates. And I don't think it panned out so well. That's all I'm saying. And so, she's going off. Scheana tells him that, Scheana says to Sandoval, what do I mean to you? And he goes, you mean a lot. And she's like, is that because we're filming? Or is that in real life? And he's like, Scheana, like, I show up. And, she's like, Ariana thinks you're being performative. And, she's like, just don't make me look bad. She walks away. But that didn't end there with Tom because Sandoval, he's like performative. Like, Ariana's the one that's being performative, and he's pissed. I mean, he is pissed now. So Sandoval like comes up to the whole group. Meanwhile, Ariana has gathered her 2 minions and her boyfriend, and they are walking out the door. And so Sandoval goes to the whole group and he's like, she doesn't care about any of you guys. She talks crap about you all the time, basically. And he's like, well, before he did that, he was doing a rant, I have to say, where he was like, if you can't film with your ex, then maybe you shouldn't be filming. And, you should get off your lazy ass and stop collecting a check. I mean, he was fuming. And I really think it's because he really thought that this was his door to talk to her. Technically. But that didn't happen. She closed it down. And so he's pissed. He is fuming, And I'm trying to read my notes. Oh, that's right. So he goes to the whole group, and that's when he was like, she doesn't care about any of you. I'm the one that shows up. And Scheana turns around and says, like, I know you are, Tom. And she's like, why do you think I'm struggling? And he turns around and apologizes to her and said, I know I've made this hard on you, and I'm sorry. And he gives her a hug, and he turns, and I really believe this was genuine. He's saying to her, and I know it's going to keep being hard on you, and I'm sorry for that too. And then, it goes over to an interview with him where he's saying, like, all these people, they haven't forgiven him. They're just, looking at him as a person. And he said, and for that, they will still get a lot of hate, which is so true. So then that opened it up to Lala. And let me tell you, Lala did not hold back at all. And I love it. She was just like, she was losing her mind. She's like, this is bullshit. And, she was going off the deep end. She was like, the whole, where is it that this girl gets cheated on and the whole world rallies around her? Now she's Beyonce. Like, when does it happen that you get cheated on and you become God? Like, where is that? Because that didn't happen for me, and she really was going on the deep end. I mean, the deep end. And she's like, yeah. And she's looking at Tom and she's like, you did a terrible thing. She's like, but you didn't murder somebody. Like, he didn't murder anybody. He just cheated on somebody. Like, she is so right. But before she started going off, the interesting thing is that she's like, I've been biting my tongue. And Tom's like, because you're afraid. And she's like, no, because I'm going to break the fourth wall. And boom, she did it. And that's how she did it. And I have to tell you, that was the end of the finale, technically. But then you have Lala, who starts in her interview, and she's actually commenting on this. She's like the commentator. And she says, this is a reality show where everybody puts their lives out to the public. They show their true colors. They show up. And you start seeing different cast members of their original interview looks from 10 years ago. 11 years ago, actually, for some. And she's like, this is what we do. We show our lives, and it's the truth. And that's what's always made them good, because it was organic. And she said there was a time when she didn't do that. She lied. She didn't show her life. And she said it was suffocating. And this is why she loves Vanderpump Rules so much, because it's honest. And this season, basically, not so honest, I think is what she's trying to say. That was the end. However, hold on, people. We have seen the trailer to Vanderpump Rules reunion. It's a 3-part reunion. This is going to be a doozy, I think. And how this trailer drops is Andy Cohen saying to Lisa Vanderpump, did you see the last episode? And she says, well, I saw the last episode, but I didn't see that part. And he says, oh no, we're all going to watch it together. So I'm thinking that Lala going off was just the start of it. I think the cameras were up, mics were on, people forgot about it, and everybody was blasting their thoughts and feelings, not realizing that they were probably still being filmed, possibly. But they went off the deep end after Lala decided fourth wall broke, go for it. And I think that's what we're going to see. Because when he says we're all going to view it together, I have a feeling we're all viewing it together. So that wasn't quite the ending of the finale. We're going to see the last 10 minutes of it together on the reunion. Interesting, right? Now, do you think that's going to be in the first part? No, that's probably going to be on part 3 for sure. So what did you guys think? What did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys think of the whole season? There's a lot to think about, isn't there? I mean, it was coming off Sandoval. Ariana kept her feet to the floor. She didn't want anybody talking to him, and if you did, she wanted nothing to do with you. I find it interesting that it was okay for her to go to Kyle Chan's event, since Kyle Chan is friends with him, has always been friends with him, and knew about the affair, mind you. And I don't know. I just think that when you draw a line in the sand like that, and you're that rigid, you're not willing to bend, understand you're on a reality television show that people have to film, and it's their livelihoods, and you are taking it away from them because they care about you, and you're putting a line in the sand that says, you talk to him, I'm dead to you. Well, fantastic. Meanwhile, I have a paycheck to collect, and in order to get that paycheck, I have to work. And my job, oh yeah, is a reality television show with your ex. There you have it. I mean, really, that was the struggle. The whole season. That was the struggle. But I love to hear your thoughts. You know, it doesn't mean we have to have the same thoughts or opinions. That's what makes the world go round. So make sure you comment down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we always break the dish.